advanced staff was not here this morning. They were supposed to, understood to be here. And of course, the situation is they're not here. But anyway, what we can do is we can go over the points that I discussed with them. Met with them, I believe it was Thursday, last week, wasn't it? And we wanted to cover some critical points. And we knew that we wanted to get all the data before the board to look at what's going on and what we need to consider with regards to the convenience center. Well, we have the information, and we'll proceed forward on that. Do I have a motion and a discussion on these convenience centers? So moved. Have a second. Call the question. Motion. Those in favor, let me know. Raise your right hand. You'll vote, Mr. Bryant? Did you vote? Okay, sir. Thank you. The convenience centers have been sort of a little bit of aggravation for all of us since the last few months, and they haven't met to our satisfaction of what we want out there, I don't think. Meeting with the two gentlemen from Advance, they indicated that their concern was that they were not being able to get to the centers, or that the centers were not being monitored per se. They offered several options. I think one of their main suggestions were, first of all, I wanted to talk about the centers as they are, what we view that they need in terms of additions or corrections, and what can be done to improve. I wanted to give you all a feel for what the cost was. I call your attention to this sheet here of the cost of this. We were operating under the old system. If you had a chance to review it, and this gives you a feel for where we were and what you roughly your cost was incurring for you at each for the running of the four centers. Is there any question regarding some of these figures?
This here. This is before.
This was the cost of the, hey there, Judge Brown, how you doing? This was the cost of the employees, operating the centers, the operating of the trucks, the people manning the trucks, and everything that was as it was to us. Roughly $250,000, $52,000, $800, $252,800. It's a reasonable, accurate assessment based on our last budget figure. Plus the cost of the vehicles, plus the operating cost. You might note that the garbage truck cost, you amortize that over, and the other truck, you'd amortize that over 10 years. I think we all recognize the vehicle that we got out there is marginal, but I think that's a reasonable expectation for any of the vehicles that we use in that capacity, is a 10-year lifespan. So that would be the new garbage vehicle itself is around 270,000, 280,000, and a rollback vehicle you're talking around 60 to 70,000. So 70 to 80,000. So if you split that out over 10 years, you see you come up with 35,000 roughly cost. But that's exactly what was costing us to keep the collection centers there manned and use the county's vehicles and staff to service them. Okay? Now, let me call your attention to the next piece of data and information. And the contract. We've got a copy of the contract there, you got a copy of the contract here, we'll get the other two. But in essence, this is a roll-up of the cost of the expense incurred by the county of the contract since beginning in February 2010. That's the first date up there, you notice. So it's roughly 14 months to follow through on it, the total roll-up there. And does that also show the pulling of the rollbacks?
This is only the pullback of pulling the rollback so far. Give me a second, I'll look at all the invoices.
Okay.
But
But
first date here is not February, it's April, 4/2/10.
April, I'm sorry, April. Yes, I'm looking at the middle date, it's the month, but it's yeah. So it's a year, roughly a year.
let me ask you this question, Mr. Chairman, while you looking through that.
Mhm.
Do we have a separate, gas, bill for those people, for advance? Because they charge us for fuel. They go, like fuel don't went up now, they go up. Do we have a separate, the fuel is added into this here, they charge us for fuel?
No, it's a flat rate. It's a flat rate, as more than I know. That I had to read verbatim in the contract.
Yeah, but I know,
I don't know that there is that.
I know that was, because, this is my ask him, when fuel go up, I asked him, do they wait by the CPI? They said they didn't wait by the consumer price index. I said, well, fuel go up, what do y'all do? They said, we go up. I said, well, when fuel come down, what do y'all do? They said, we still stay where it at. We don't never come down.
I'm not familiar with that, Commissioner. The basic contract, I think, and I've just gone through that, is given at a certain rate. But needless to say, the expense of where we are is nowhere near coming up to what it was costing us to operate as we operated before. I think one of the main things is that our lack of satisfaction, as I said, with the way our convenience centers look, and we were aware that we were going to go through a transition here, and we've gotten some good results out of the prisoners trying to police them up, do the right thing to keep them cleaned up, but they still are marginal in a lot of areas. Talking with Advance Thursday, and we'll meet, it's nothing, I want to get all the data and all the facts before us today. There's not a lot to say that we have to make a decision what direction we want to go, but the main thing is, and we can get Advance here, I thought they would be good today, but the main thing is their review and our knowledge of what's going on, and we know we're getting a lot of out-of-county dumping at those selection centers. We know that the volume, since the people are not manning them, is probably third again as much. Do you sense that at Higgsville there? No?
only recently. And of course,
Yeah.
the explanation from Danny was, it's just seasonal. Good weather brought people to cleaning out the garages and houses and everything else, and they came and filled up all the stuff.
Yeah, and that may be, it may be seasonal, but, my observation is that pretty much each of the centers, based on people's reporting, and, Mr. Thompson, do you see anything in our volume?
Oh, I've definitely seen higher volume, I've seen stuff that in there that shouldn't be in there, and I've seen folk from out of county coming in bringing stuff.
Bringing trash in.
Mr.
And
Chairman,
certainly Commissioner Bryant's the same way down there on his end, I know.
the gentleman came in here and said that we had an increase of garbage. That's why he said that they couldn't keep up with it. He said they had an increase of over 30%. You know, when he came back in here, and we're talking about the garbage, about the increase, the garbage that we had increased from the time they took that contract.
That's, well, and indeed, he, again reiterated that Thursday when I was talking with him one-on-one, and he's indicated that our open gates are contributing to people just coming in and dumping the garbage and the trash, and he had this suggestion, and of course this is, I've heard several comments in different places. He was suggesting that we need, and I agree, we've depended on the road crew and different ones to try to secure those centers, and it's piecemeal, it hasn't worked. It is neither here and closed sometimes, open sometimes. But his suggestions were that make sure that we close them each evening and close them on one day of the weekend for keep dumping trash from other people's, other counties, or other communities, or even contractors that's doing work, that's going in and dumping trash. So, but that's one of the things that he suggested was that we go to regular hours, that we maintain regular hours, that we secure the gates at night and the evening, and on the weekend. He also suggested that we actually, this is, that's the same thing. Oh, did you get more? Rather than what we're trying to split the closing of the time or pickup, I think was it Monday and Thursday? Is that
Right now,
Monday and Friday?
Thursday, Monday and Thursday.
Monday and Thursday, I believe it is. He suggested that we'd close them on Sunday and Monday. And that's not what
For pickup,
he said, close them here. Come on in, Mr. Epps. Good to see you. We're just getting in a discussion about the convenience centers. And but his suggestion was that we have the hours, operating hours set like he had on 8 hours a day, 10 to 6 or whatever. Have them open on Saturday, close them on Sunday and Monday for pickup and dump. Be worlds ahead of the indiscriminate dumping of trash in those communities. So that's one possibility. The other possibilities were to again have, and we all know that years past you had what they call contract persons. They, Advance, do provide that in several communities around. They provide it in Putnam, Baldwin, Johnson, Wilson, I believe it is. However, we on our own, we could do it ourselves if you see the wisdom of it.